It's so great. Some familiar faces. My name is Drake Dais. I graduated North Carolina State University in spring of 2020. In the midst of COVID, that was very interesting. I graduated with my bachelor's in business administration with my concentration in human resource management. Now I currently work for JP Chase in their HR analyst development program. While I was on campus, I pretty much did everything you probably could think of. I didn't want to leave campus thinking, oh, I should have did this. I would have did this differently. So I was very much in my books. I traveled to over 56 cities for free because people will pay for you to come visit their campus. People will pay for you to come visit their organization. I got the opportunity to study abroad in Rome, Italy. So that was just, a great experience in itself, just seeing what it looks like in different cultures and different companies. I was able to be a part of the Aspiring Eagles Academy, as well as work in the Career Development Center as a Career Eagle officer. So in that place, I was helping with developing resumes for students, as well as did workshops on campus for professional and personal development. I was in a lot of different programs in order to just kind of set myself up to become successful after college. Me being a first generation college student, I really did not have the support at home to kind of tell me like, do this or don't do that. So I kind of just had to find my way, make mistakes, and just kind of fall. Everywhere I fail, I learned from each mistake. And here I am today, thriving in Dallas, Texas. Like it said on the flyer, I'm currently a compensation analyst, but I actually just transitioned roles to a campus recruiter. So hopefully I'll be able to see some of you all soon with applications and coming to the school to recruit more students. So I'm really excited about that new role within the company.
Oh, wow. That is awesome. Congratulations. Oh, I
Thank
love that.
you.
You're going to be so great at that role too, because I know that is of a passion for you. And yes, we look forward to getting those NCCU, your fellow Eagles into some opportunities with JP Morgan. So I'm excited for you. Good stuff. Good
Thank
stuff.
you.
Awesome. Well, tell us a little bit. You kind of mentioned that you were involved in a lot of things. Let's talk about kind of what the things, what were you involved in, and what was the what contribution do those activities bring to your overall experience and in preparation when you go into college, go into your career?
Yeah, so to list just a few organizations that I was involved in, I was the president of the SHRM chapter on campus. We were able to go to 2 different competitions against a lot of different schools in North Carolina and South Carolina. Both years we won first place, so that was super exciting just to bring a new face, new HBCU face to the SHRM environment. Also a part of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. So it's been such a wonderful opportunity to be a member, as well as, extending that on into my alumni life. I'm also a part of Beta Gamma Sigma International Business Honor Society. So of course, I'm pretty sure you all know as business major, it's not easy to get an invitation into that organization. So I worked really, really hard in order to get an invitation. I also worked as a resident assistant for 3 years in Rush Hall and in Annie Day as a head RA. So dealing with a lot of kids and a lot of parents, you learn a lot of different skills, as you all can imagine. And so just to name those few organizations specifically on campus, it really just helped prepare me to be a leader and to understand what skill sets I had that I can kind of transfer into my adult life. A lot of people think that, just having roles and being in clubs on campus, you don't really get to see the ins and outs and you don't really have experience, but trust me, you do. Like, you learn how to truly be a leader, how to advocate for yourself, because no one can advocate for you like you can. So being in these leadership roles on campus taught me that I can be whoever I want to be, and then taking it a step further and being involved in outside organizations such as SEO Careers, MLT, Inroads. A lot of these organizations partner directly with Fortune 500 companies. And like, even being in the campus recruiting space, like, I see that we directly partner with them. So even if you just become involved, get your resume out there. They literally give your resume to these top organizations and they prepare you for success. So throughout these organizations, inside and outside of my experience, I was able to be prepared professionally and personally to walk into a corporate role after college.
Outstanding, outstanding. I was going to say, when did you sleep? That's but that's what it's about, and being open to these opportunities. Was there any, I know you mentioned that you studied abroad. Was there anything that you were a bit apprehensive about doing, but really happy that you ended up doing it?
So one of the things I would say that I was apprehensive about doing was, so studying abroad was something I always wanted to do, but necessarily, like I said before, I didn't really have the support to kind of get me there. So I was just going off with the whim, but I knew like I had to get to another country. This was on my bucket list, didn't even know what it would look like, but I'm so glad that I did, because being the only in a space, it allowed me to see what I want other people that look like me to see. Being the only in a space, it showed me that there's more culture out here in the world that we have to grasp and that we can kind of build into our own lives. And then also when I interned for JP Morgan Chase in Plano, Texas in the summer of 2019, like I didn't know what I was going to do, where I was going to live, how I was going to even get around. But luckily, I met a wonderful young lady during my interview process. And once I got an invitation to come back for an interview, she hit me up on LinkedIn and she said, "Hey, Drake, like I saw that you got an offer. Like, would you want to be my roommate?" And I didn't even know this girl from anything. I've only met her one time. And we became roommates, and it was such an amazing experience to just do something, just take a risk. And we're literally best friends till this day. We travel together, we call each other all the time. So it was so awesome that I was able to take, a big risk in my college career, but it ended up being one of the best things I've ever done.
I love that. I love that. That's great. Now, how did you end up with JP Morgan?
So that's a great question. So one of the things that I did was get involved in programs outside of the university. Like I said before, one of the things with Thurgood Marshall College Fund, SEO Careers, MLT, Inroads. So these companies specifically sought after underrepresented groups such as Black, Latinx, college students, and they help prepare you for corporate world. So there was a recruiter that emailed me, and she said, "Hey, Drake, like I think you would be amazing for this HR analyst development role." And I was like, this has to be a scam. Like JP Morgan, like I don't even think that was a real company, honestly, because Chase wasn't even in the Carolinas until like the last couple of years. So again, I wasn't raised knowing what banks other than Bank of America, Wells Fargo is the one we see day to day. So I kind of ignored the first email. She emailed me again. She said, "Hey, like I really think that you should apply to this program." And I was like, "Okay, let me just do this because I don't want to miss it on the blessing." So I applied. The next day, she emailed me again. She said, "Hey, Drake, we want you to do a hire view. We want to see more about you." And I was like, "Okay, let me do the hire view." 2 days later, she emailed me again. She said, "Drake, we want you to come to Texas. We need you to come to a super day." And I emailed her back like, "Ma'am, I can't just hop on a plane in 2 days. Like, I don't know, about you, but I don't have that type of money to book a flight, all that stuff." She said, "Oh, no worries. I apologize. Everything's paid for. You just have to book it." And I was like, "Okay, let me book my flight, book my hotel." I had 2 days to do this. And so I made it my mission to book everything, came to the super day. And in my mind, I thought it was going to be like hundreds of people there. I didn't know what to expect. I've never been to a super day in my life, never been to Dallas, Texas. When I got there were 5 women in the room. And I was like, wow, like this process was so strategic that they only invited 5 people to the super day, to the interview. So got in there, they had kind of a welcome ceremony. We did 2 interviews that day. And then a week later, they called me back for a full-time or an internship offer to come back. After that internship, the last day of my internship, they offered me a full-time position. So I technically walked into my senior year already with a full-time job.
That is amazing. That is awesome. I am so excited for you on that. And again, like you said, you just don't know what could happen. And you're going out there on faith, you're going out there, taking that walk. And to your point, you're thinking you're having to put your own resource to that. I'm like, oh no, we want you. So we're going to push, all the barriers aside to get you to where you need to be. So that is awesome. But the fact that you were present enough to take advantage of it is amazing as well. And I will also be a proponent for those, like you said. I know that we got some folks in the chat. Effie was talking about TMCF, and I know you mentioned that, and Rose and MLT. You all may see those coming across your emails. Hopefully you do, because there's been opportunities for you all to be involved with all of those organizations just recently through those weekly emails that we send to you all. But please do take advantage of those resources as well. I will be on, I full disclosure, I was an Emirates intern when I was in college, and I attribute so much of my experiences, in college with my internship. And to your point, when I was a senior, I had a job offer. So, a lot of the kind of stress and the burden of trying to figure that out was really alleviated because you had already had that internship experience through these organizations. So I do think that's a wonderful thing to promote. Oh, awesome. Please make sure you guys are taking a look at the chat too, because Effie is just dropping gems. So make sure that you're taking a look. So, but that's awesome. Drake, again, I'm glad for, that's a great story. I'm glad for you taking those chances. So I'm going to let, at this point, it's 12:15, see if anyone has any questions. I don't want to monopolize the time. Any questions for Drake?
Yeah. Hey, how everybody doing? My name is Deshaun Stevens, and Drake is a dear friend of mine. So when I seen it come to my email, I said I have to jump on here and just let you know, Drake, I'm proud of you, and I love you. I'm grateful to be able to work alongside you with Habitat for Humanity while you was here at Central, and just to let everybody know, Drake actually helped me land my first job offer down in Dallas, Texas, for N4. I'll be starting this summer. And Drake, I just want to thank you for all that you do. Keep prospering and keep shining, girl. Keep
oh my God, how amazing. Yay, congratulations. And so that's another thing I want to I'm sorry, no, Drake, please respond. My bad.
You're okay. Thank you so much, Jason. You are so awesome. It's just been a pleasure connecting with you, always being an advocate for you. You're just so awesome since the day that, we've met, and we've been connected ever since. So just keep shining. Can't wait to welcome you to Dallas. It's going to be awesome. We have a great network of young Black professionals here ready to welcome you. So excited, and congratulations again on your job.
I appreciate that. And my question will be like, what advice do you have for like students going into the professional world? Like, how would you what would you tell them to be prepared, like going from being a college student to like the professional space? Because I know you'd be working with a lot of older people and people who's been in their careers for some years. Like, how would you make that transition as easy as possible for them?
My first piece of advice is to show up and show out. Like, they came and got you for a reason. They recruited you for a reason. So you have to find a way to add value to anywhere or any person you come across. The biggest thing that I tell a lot of young professionals is your network is your net worth. Every time you walk into the hallway, speak, open your mouth. Hello, how are you doing? Good morning. Nice to see you. Because you never know where that person might advocate for you. I remember there's a couple of times where in my current role, there was a young lady I met literally just walking down the hallway, smiled, hello, how are you doing? I knew someone who she was with. Literally 2 days ago, she called me and she said, Drake, I have a job for you, and I advocated for you, and I want you in that job. Unfortunately, I couldn't take it because of the position that I was in, but because I made an impact on her the first day I met her, I only interacted with her one time. She remembered me and knew me from that situation and offered me a job from there. So that's one of the biggest things that I say is your network is your network. And then proper preparation prevents poor performance, the 5 P's of success. So if you're meeting with someone, meeting with your manager, have an agenda ready. It could be something as simple as introduction, things I want to talk about, questions I need to be answered, but always come prepared, because you never want to leave a meeting wondering, like, why did I even, where did we even why do we even have this meeting? Where do we go? So you always want to come prepared in whatever you do. And these couple of things are going to set you up for success. Now, I do realize there's going to be a huge transition from undergrad to corporate. I went through it. Imposter syndrome is such a real thing, but always show up with your authentic self. If your company cannot accept you for who you are, then I would think second about why did you even join that company? These are questions that you should have asked in the interview process. What is your company culture? How do your managers interact with the people they report to? So you want to make sure that the company culture is as comfortable and as where you want it to be, so you can come to work feeling like yourself, being positive, having a smile on your face, and never let anyone tell you that you can't do something. You're too young to do something, because you can do it.
That's good, Drake. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Hello, Drake. My name is Dr. Price. I wanted to jump on here first and say I'm extremely proud of you. I'm not surprised of all the gems and jewels you're given. My question to you is, how did you allow your undergraduate experience and the people that you were connected to propel you to where you are? I personally know your journey, but I think it's important to share. You didn't just arrive now. And so how did you utilize your space and your network when you were an undergrad to propel you to where you are now?
That's a great question. Thank you so much. And it's so great to see you. One of the biggest things I want to say is freshman year of college, I mentioned before that I'm a part of Aspiring Eagles Academy. During our first introduction, Dr. Moultrie mentioned to us, and Dr. Price, utilize your resources. They said that so many times. And at first I was like, I didn't even understand what that meant. But utilizing your resources means the people you're connected to and the opportunities that they have set up for you. So one of the things that I did is I literally made personal connections with a lot of people who helped me on my journey within Central and beyond, a lot of my professors as well, because you never know who they're connected with. I would even come to their office. Sometimes, we all have bad days, crying, and don't get me wrong, I've made a ton of mistakes in the undergrad. And so being able to have a support system, to be there, to help you, to guide you, not even to judge you, but sometimes it takes someone to say, hey, Drake, let's come sit in my office. What you're doing right now is not it. I'm gonna need for you to change it up. I'm gonna need for you to get it right so we can move on to where you're supposed to be. There's gonna be a lot of people in your life who sees your potential before you see it, and you have to just trust them. We're gonna make mistakes. We're gonna fall. College is the opportunity to make risks, but you have to believe them when they say, like, you got to change up, you got to do certain things, because if they didn't have those difficult conversations with me, like, I really would not be here today. Like, it could be as simple as, I remember one time I went through the stage of dyeing my hair bright red. And I remember going into Dr. Moultrie's office, and she said, Drake, what makes you think you're going to get a job with bright red hair? And I just thought I was going to be like amazing. And so I had to like think to myself, like, okay, Drake, like, this was a great, experience. You did it, like, wonderful. But I just kind of had to bring myself back to reality of where I wanted to be and who I wanted to look like. And so because of those difficult conversations, junior year, I started to dress for the job that I wanted, not for the job that I had. So I had friends calling me like 3-piece suit, Drake, why are you always wearing suits? You're always doing this. Well, because I'm ready for corporate America. I don't know where you want to be, but this is where I wanted to be. So I had to dress the part, I needed to look the part, and I needed to articulate my way to have those conversations. So it was super impactful to build those relationships with those people on campus, organizations, because they helped me become who I am today.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
That is amazing. I have Mawa here. She wants to ask a question.
Hello, I'm sorry. So one of my questions would have to be, especially since, like you said, you went to a new state, but especially being a Black woman in corporate, what would you have to say? Because I know there's other Black women on the call. What would you say as a Black woman that we have to prepare ourselves for, or how what did you do to prepare yourself for being in corporate and being around a lot of white people who may be ignorant, and knowing that we may have to work twice as hard to be at the table in these certain conversations, or just being us in
Yeah,
this area?
that's a great question. So just like you said, knowing that I have to work twice as hard, being really embedded into the business school as well as alternative programs really helped prepare me because it got my expectations together. Like I came out of NCCU knowing who I was and what I was going to bring to the table as a Black woman. So one of the things that my company does a great job of is understanding those cultural differences, understanding microaggressions, training managers, training EDs a lot on Black culture, Latinx culture. What does that look like? And so one of my first managers, I was very shy going, hard to believe, right? I was very shy going into my first role because I just didn't know if I said something wrong, how people were going to take it. And like people, you can talk to your friends a certain way, but you can't talk to your managers and people at your job the same way you talk to your friends. So one of the things that I started to do was I started to read the room. Whatever kind of Zoom or place that I was in, I started to read people's reactions. I started to understand how they would respond to me. And you'll get a lot of people tell you, oh, you shouldn't believe that manager. That manager is going to be hard on you. That manager is going to be tough. But you have to understand that their experience is not your experience. You make your experience however you want to. So I come into every single room with a smile on my face, enthusiastic about being there. And so many people have told me, Drake, never change yourself. Like I brought a light to a room that people didn't even know was there. So I would say that when you are trying to be a Black woman in corporate America, don't change yourself for anyone, but always come professional with the facts and making sure you know what you're talking about. Again, even, people say you always want to speak up and be heard, but make sure when you speak up, it's adding value to whatever conversation that you're talking in. So those are just some of the tips that I would say about being Black in corporate America. And then also building your community. One of the things that I did when I first joined JP Morgan is I didn't know that many Black people that worked at the firm. So I found them and I created a big group chat of all of us. Right now, I think there's about 50 of us in there just in Texas. And so we talk to each other every single day. We eat lunch with each other. We pour into each other. We make sure that we found our community so we could feel safe no matter where we were. I'm the only one in HR, so they come and ask me all types of questions. How can I get this role? What does comp look like? What are we doing in the firm? So those are some of the things that I did in order to kind of transition.
Thank you for answering my question.
Of course.
That is great. Kayvon, you have a question?
Yes. Hey, Drake. My name is Kevin Richardson. I'm currently a junior major in HR, and my question would be, how did you get into compensation, and did you currently like your role in being?
Yeah, so I'm a part of an HR analyst development program, and you still being in college, I highly recommend that you find a rotational program. They have them at JP Morgan, they have them at Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and a lot of other companies. And what that does is they strategically put you in different roles so you understand the different aspects of HR. Because I'm pretty sure there's so many different ways that you could go in. And one of the things that a lot of my mentors told me is, hey, Drake, like you have to know comp. Dr. Miles tells us all the time, you have to know the numbers in order to be a great HR professional. So that was one of the strategic things that I wanted to do, is to learn the numbers, learn the back end. Comp is very analytical, so you have to have that type of mindset to know that you're going to be in the numbers, you're going to be in the weeds of things. I absolutely loved it. So I worked for the investment bank for compensation, and literally my first day, I was like, people make this type of money? Like people come out of college, it blew my mind. And at first I thought maybe I'm in the wrong career field. But then I realized like investment bankers, they work like 80 hours a week. So I understand their compensation. I understand their pay, but they do have the great compensation for it. And so that's my best way to say to get into comp is to be in an HR rotational program. Needless to say, there are a lot of companies who are hiring specifically analysts in the comp role. And if you are wanting to be in compensation, I would definitely say become a master in Excel, because you use Excel like it's your life. So if you become a master in Excel, understanding the market, understanding how to do salary differentiations, pay ranges, and all that stuff, that will set you up for any interview within compensation. But I loved it. I feel like it benefits any HR professional. It helps you stand out, because a lot of HR professionals don't understand the numbers, don't understand how to be analytical. So I completely support it.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Drake.
Hey.
Yeah, Drake was my RA when I was a freshman. So anything Drake did freshman year, I just tried to copy it. So yeah, I just want to get on here and say thank you. You were like, show me what to do, what not to do in the School of Business. And I'm just like trying to copy what she did her 1 year that I was here. But what's some of the things when going getting that full-time offer and going getting your master's program, what's some of the obstacles and some of the things that you even failed at along that way?
So some of the obstacles that I failed at, along with like kind of getting a job offer, one of the things that I noticed is that I was so HR focused that I literally got everything, all HR internships, that I didn't open up the doors to alternative things like accounting roles or I don't know, like finance roles. And I did have an opportunity to go to, I think, the NABA conference, and I turned it down because I was like, oh, I want to be in HR. If I was to go back now, I would have went to that conference, because that would have opened up so many additional doors for me. And so one of the things that I wish I would have done was to be open-minded about every single role in business, because at the end of the day, you can use every single skill no matter where you go. So I started to notice when I was applying to roles, because I just wanted to test the game. I applied to roles that were not HR focused, and they turned me down right away. Like, hey, like your whole resume is HR based. I don't think this role is right for you, unless they're willing to train me from the bottom up, which some organizations don't want to, some do, depending on where you want to go. So I would say like that was probably one of the things I failed at. I was so HR focused that I didn't really have room, or a lot of other companies didn't see me outside of like the HR practitioner, HR professional, but it opened a lot of doors for me on the back end. So that lesson actually taught me something good about myself, that, hey, like HR, you're really good at it. No matter where you go, like other people see it, so you see it in yourself. So that was one of the things that I kind of necessarily learned from throughout my process. And then also I did apply to grad school. So Wharton was one of the schools I really wanted to go to get my MBA. And they started a program when I was an undergrad, similar to the 2+2 program that Harvard has. So basically where you apply as an undergraduate senior, they defer your enrollment for up to 5 years. You automatically get admitted. I was so set on going to Wharton, wanted to be there. I visited the school multiple times. I also applied to Columbia just kind of as a backup. I knew I was going to get in. Got the letter of decisions, and I got denied to all schools I applied to. And I was so disheartened because I thought I was a perfect candidate. I didn't know what I did wrong, but I started to realize one of the major things that I did wrong was I didn't know what I wanted to do after I got a second degree. I wasn't even well versed on what I was going to do after undergrad completely. And to think about 5 years from now, I couldn't have a great answer. So although my essays were fantastic, my application was great, they probably saw that too, where I didn't have a direct answer what I was going to do after I got my MBA. So that lesson taught me like, oh, I can apply to grad school, no problem. It was a great experience. It was a hard experience, but whenever I'm ready to go back, I now know what I want to do. And I now know kind of the career path that I need to take in order to get there.
Thank you.
Of course. And it's so good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Well, I love that. I know that if you had have anything, you'd be very proud of Jaden. And if you have anything to do with how wonderful Jaden is, then we know it is something good because he is outstanding. So, but that is awesome. And I just want to, again, just circle back on this importance of networking. And this is kind of what we've gotten into this, you've made an impact, Drake. You have friends, that can speak to how you've helped and supported the things that they've been able to do. You have recognized the fact that you've had people in your life that have been able to give you that support as well. How important is it? And I think some people call it like that advisory board, or that is several boards of kind of folks that you kind of have in your pocket. How important is that? And then who do you keep there? Who do you keep in kind of your board of directors, so to speak, as it relates to your professional and even personal life?
Yeah, like you said, networking is so important because it helps you excel. It helps you become who you're supposed to be. Again, that potential piece, you might not see it yet, but they see it before you do. And they can help guide you. They can help nurture you. They can help be there for you and eventually be a sponsor for you. And the biggest difference between a sponsor and a mentor is a sponsor is going to speak on your behalf when you're not in the room. Your sponsor is going to get you that promotion, get you that pay raise when you're not in the room. So with some of the people that I kind of keep in my board of directors, there's actually a lot of people who I stay in contact with at Central. So one of them, Dr. Price, Dr. Moultrie, who else do I keep? Dr. Jackson. There's a couple of other people, Dr. Miles, who I just kind of run a lot of things by. They're kind of the first people I kind of tell if something excited happens in my career. I pretty much go to them first. I keep that connection. Also, Dr. Malloy, she was super impactful to me when I was an undergrad in the School of Business. So there's a lot of people, I can name so many, who have just kind of been there for me, poured into me, and I've just been so grateful to have that connection kind of on my board of directors. In my professional career right now, while I'm in JP Morgan Chase. So one of the great things about my program is they actually connect you to a mentor. So needless to say, you might connect with them, you might not, but they pair you with a mentor, pair you with someone to help guide you, help assist you. I have monthly calls with them, if not bi-weekly calls with them. And then there's people along the way. So I even stay connected with my managers that I've had, and I've been through about 3 or 4 managers and still connect with them to this day, keep them updated on what I'm going through. They help me on a personal and professional career. So a lot of those people are just kind of on my board of directors. And then also you got to think about it in friends. So keeping friends who are going to motivate you, stand beside you when anything happens. Like I keep a lot of my friends on my board of directors, and I be very strategic with who I let into like my career and my professional life, because you'll start to realize, and I don't know if you know this now, but you'll start to compartmentalize your friends. You'll have your party friends over here, you have your career friends on here, you have your everyday friends over here. So you have to understand who are those friends who are going to stick beside you no matter what. And those are my friends who I tell like every single thing to, run things by them. Even when I started my business, I'm also a travel agent. I was running things by them every single day. What can I do better? How do I excel? So a lot of those people kind of help me build my network, but it's so important to have that circle of people around you to help build you up.
I completely agree with that, Drake. And first of all, hello. I apologize for my camera being off. I'm actually eating, and I do not need you guys to see me doing that. So I, first of all, want to say, like everybody else said, I am super proud of you. Drake has been my mentor, and she will always be my mentor, whether she wants to or not. And I just want to highlight the fact that your board of directors is super important. And she let me know that freshman year, who you have in your corner to advocate for you when you cannot advocate for yourself in or outside of the room is super important. So thank you for highlighting that. I did have a question. I think I dropped it in the chat, but how do you utilize failure into fuel to keep going? Because sometimes you can be going, you have goals to achieve, and you don't always achieve those goals when you want to achieve them. So how do you utilize that failure into fuel to continue pursuing your other goals that you may have?
Efe, that's a great question. It's so good to see you on the call. One of the biggest things I say and I use when I fail is to fall forward. We all have to learn from what we did wrong. And of course, we're going to be upset in the moment. You have to like feel it, feel, crying, be upset, be mad. That's okay. Acknowledge how you felt. And then what I like to do is I like to reminisce on everything that happened throughout that process, what I did wrong, what I did right, what I could have done better, what I could have done better. And from there, I just set that up as an opportunity, kind of turn that into a goal in order to help me propel my career into the future. For example, what I talked about with not getting into grad school, like it hurt me so much because these are my top schools. I even connected with the director of the program. I'm like, how can I not get accepted? But I took that as an opportunity to look back on my essays. I even set up a call with the director who interviewed me and say, hey, I would love to get feedback on what I've done, what I did right, what I did wrong, what I could have done in the future. And just having that opportunity to sit on a call, listen to the feedback, it showed me what I can do well to fall forward and keep pushing to my career, not to be stagnant, and to keep pushing on to who I want to become.
Yes, that's amazing. Fall forward. I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing.
Of course, Efe, thank you.
I had a quick again.
Okay.
One second. But one of my questions, I know when you were speaking, you talked about not having support in college. So I would say, like, what would your advice be to students who are they don't have that support or that backbone while being in college, and they're trying to persevere and they're trying to keep their head above water, but it's very hard for them to do that? What would like kind words or advice would you say to those who need it?
Oh, yes, that's so important because one of the things that I had to do coming in was I had to learn and I had to be okay and accept that, hey, it's just me out here thriving. My family at home, they don't understand. They don't get it. They don't know. I can't go back and talk to them. Like I've had times where I had to stay on campus during the summers because I had nowhere to go. So I had to understand and live in my moment to know where I needed help, where I needed to raise my hand. Because when I was, younger, I didn't ask for help. I didn't want people to know what I was going through. I wasn't okay with my story to even let other people in. But as I mentioned before, you start to build relationships with those people around you. You start to trust them a little bit at a time. One of the things that I started to do was I would give them a little nugget of my story, a little nugget here, a little nugget there, just to see the response, see how they're going to react to it. And then once I felt comfortable enough, I opened up completely. And I said, hey, this is what's going on in my life. How can you help? What can we do? And once you completely open up and let them in, if they will then take it into their hands to help you if they want to. And I'm pretty sure they will. Once you start building that genuine connection with them, they will be there, be your biggest advocate. Some of the people like that I've met at Central are literally like my family. Like the staff members there, the people, I hold them so dear to my heart. Like I can never let them go. Even like graduating, be almost 2 years out, like I can never let them go out of my life because they've always been there to give me that hard conversation, to lift me up when I was down, to cry with me, to even walk me over to get therapy. Like I was so scared to get therapy. Like I didn't want to talk to anyone. And one of the ladies, she will never forget, her name is Scott. She sat with me every single week in our office. And then she said, when you're ready, I will walk with you over there. She literally walked me to the door of the lady who was going to be my therapist and said, Drake, it's okay, but I think it's time for you to get professional help. And I was like, okay, thank you for having me every step of the way. And now, I can turn it over to the next thing of my career. So those are really some of the things that I would say, to reach out, to find those friends who are going to be there for you through thick and thin. And of course and I'm pretty sure you've had friends who say they're going to be there for you, and then in a blink of an eye, they're, hitting the road. When things get rough, they're hitting the road. Those friends weren't meant to be. Like, I am a firm believer that God will put people in your life who are supposed to be there. They can either be there for a lesson or a blessing. So sometimes when people are in your life, you have to learn from them. They taught you something. It was time for them to go because they was only here for a season. So those are some of the things that I would say. But to start off, start to understand to be comfortable with yourself and to let people in, because that's the only way you're going to start building that community, to build that backbone to help you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That is so amazing and helpful. I saw Miss Brame. I don't know if she's busy, but I saw her come on, so I wanted to give her the opportunity to say hey. Miss Brame? Deborah?
She's here with me. I'm Kayla Moore, by the way. She's here with me.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure she had the opportunity to say hello to Drake.
Hello. Can y'all please forgive me. I'm in class and we just completed the first business orientation. And so afterwards we got out a little early and we were going to pop into Drake. So of course the computer here isn't working. And my friend here, she turned it on so I could hear part of Drake's presentation. And I'm just so happy. I was wanting more students to hear it, but I couldn't pull it up on the screen. So that means Drake has to come back again.
And don't forget, we do have this recorded. So I'm going to make sure that you have a copy of this recording so that your students can hear it.
Awesome, because that's another thing I greatly appreciate, because we can play it again for the whole class. I like everybody here. Drake, she does such a great job. So is she gone already?
No, she's here. Oh, you don't see her?
Oh.
Okay. She's going to be in one of the boxes up there.
See, you know what? It happens when you get old, you can't see very well.
Oh, please.
Good seeing you, Drake. I think I tell your story more than you do.
Thank you so much. It is so good to see you.
Same with you. Same with you. Got a new dude. That's what it is. I didn't recognize the new dude.
Yes.
See, that's one thing about as you get older, you have to keep changing. Did I tell you that little part? You gotta keep changing. If you stay the same, you get pushed to the side.
Yep.
Well, let me get back. I'm good hearing you. Thank you for allowing us to record you so I can share it with others.
Of course, it's my pleasure.
Absolutely.
Okay, take care now.
You too.
Okay. I love that. And she's so right. We do probably tell your story more than you do. So I think that again is a true testament on, doing stuff right, living right, making those wonderful decisions and being truly exceptional. So again, we thank you. Before we depart, I would like to give you the opportunity to just maybe do some closing words, motivation to the students that are on this call, to the students that will listen to this message in the coming days. Feel free to share your thoughts.
Thank you so much for allowing me to come in, share my story, to motivate the next generation to come. Some of the last pieces of advice that I just wanted to give out is to make goals. Dreams without goals are just dreams. So to make goals, push to where you want to become, because the sky is the limit. Like I said before, I never could have imagined that I would be sitting where I am right now in Dallas, Texas, working for the #1 financial institution in the world. But I had a dream and I pushed forward. I got connected with people who were able to propel me to be who I wanted to become. And this is just the beginning for me. So I say, if you haven't gotten connected with the Career Center, with the School of Business, get connected now. Start building, your portfolio, get into clubs, but always have it with a purpose. Don't do anything just to do it. Have a purpose behind it. Get an internship, especially as a business student. I say you at least need to have 2 internships, if not 3, because you have to start building up your resume so you can be attractive to these top companies. If you can't get an internship over the summer, get one during the year, co-op. And I know a lot of people say like, Drake, I have to work. Drake, I have to do this. Drake, I have to do that. Trust me, I know. I worked 2 jobs while I was a full-time student and did everything that I told you I did on this call. So trust me, I know. But at a certain point, you have to make a decision of who are you going to choose, yourself, your career, or the next step. So make sure you understand that. Don't let anything get into the way of what you want to become. Like, these jobs are just temporary until you get to where you want to be. So always keep that in mind. Lean forward. Do what you have to do to be successful. I'm here rooting for you. Please reach out if you have any more questions, if you need advice, if you just need someone to motivate, cry on, like, I'm here. Everyone in the School of Business is there too. They're helping you. Also, one last thing, stay on top of your school schedule and your career as well, because make sure you get the classes that you need. Don't listen to everybody. Listen to your advisor. And I'm pretty sure they have like a step-by-step, like I want to say like every semester, the classes that you need to take, make sure you're taking them when you're supposed to, because I see a lot of students who are listening to their friends and they end up graduating 2 years later. So don't do that. Listen to your advisors and listen to like that schedule so you can make sure you're on track and you can get out of there 4 years or less. So that's all I want to say. Thank you so much for coming and listening.
Awesome and amen. Thank you so much, Drake. Again, we look forward to having you come back to see us. You know, we're still in the same place now. We're gonna move to a new building in January, but we're gonna make sure you have that address because you're gonna be there too. But we thank you so much for all that you do and definitely representing NCCU School of Business as well as the university at large in the wonderful way that you do. So thank you, and thank you everyone for joining us this afternoon.
Bye, Drake.
Bye, everyone. Have a good day.
Bye. Thank you again.
Have a good one. Bye.